In our last video, we set up our statement of cash flows. Now we want to finalize our model by setting up the summary financials tab, the color coding, and the table of contents. So let's get started by first going to our summary financials tab. Now we already have everything in place. The only thing that we need to do is go to the drivers tab and add in a new column for our mappings. So I'll just right click and I'll click on insert new column. And I think we have everything that we need for this top section. So I can go ahead and delete it. And I'm just gonna write mapping over here. And I will go ahead and enter in the mapping for each account. And I'm just gonna go ahead and fast forward as I do that. Okay, now that I have my income statement mapped, I'm gonna go ahead and repeat those same steps, and this time for my balance sheet. So I will enter in my cash accounts. And again, I'm gonna put it on the total bank accounts line since that's where the projections are gonna go. And then I'll enter in accounts receivable, fix that typo, and I'll just speed up as I do the rest. Okay, so now that I have my balance sheet mapped as well, let's go ahead and set this up so that my summary financials will pull accordingly. So first, it looks like I just need to group this section here and this section here. Let's just collapse this. And now I'll set up my formula. So I'm gonna write equals sum ifs. Now I'm gonna point to the January 2023 column. I'll hit a comma. I'll point then to the mapping column. I'm gonna lock it because I don't want that to move as I drag my formula forward. I'm gonna enter one more comma and I'm going to refer to my revenue line item over here and I'll just lock that column as such and I'll close it. Perfect. Now let me just copy and paste the information as such. Now this is populated in column D, so I'm gonna update that in a second, but let's update the other income and expense. And it looks like I just need to change this to other income / expenses. Perfect. Okay, now I'm gonna take this same information and I'm gonna copy it over here, but instead of referring to here, I'm gonna refer to here, advertising and marketing. And it looks like everything is populating and we are good with our income statement. So now let's do the same thing for our balance sheet. So I'm gonna say equals sum ifs. We're gonna go to the drivers tab. I'm gonna refer to this column here. If the mapping, which I will lock, is equal to the value over here, let's close the parentheses. And I will then drag that down and continue to drag down as such. Okay, now we got to do our cash flows. So I am going to set the cash from operating activities to equal this over here for January 2023 on the statement of cash flows. Our cash from investing activities will equal this. And the cash from financing activities is going to equal this over here. Okay, now let's set up all of our checks. So I'm going to write checks. And I am going to check to confirm that revenue matches, COGS matches, OPEX matches, net other income matches, net income matches. Then I'll check that assets match, liabilities match, owner's equity, and then we could just say total cash flows and ending cash. Excellent. Okay, now it's going to be really simple for how we set up these check rows. I'm just going to point to revenue. I'll hit a comma. I'm then going to go to the drivers tab, which is where this should pull from. And I'll point directly to this as such. And this should be a minus. Okay, looks like this works. So I'm just gonna speed up now and do the rest of the checks. Okay, so I just set up all of the checks. The income statement and balance sheet pulls from the drivers, whereas the total cash flows and ending cash pulls from the cash flow statement. And I can see that I have a mistake with the operating expenses. So it looks like one of my accounts are not mapped. It looks like I have a software account. Could that be the reason? Let's see, if I go to drivers, it actually isn't that. It looks like I haven't put advertising and marketing. So I'm gonna just update that here and I'm gonna change this to software. Now if I go to my summary financials, does everything populate? All right, looks like it does. Now with the way that we set up these formulas, I should be able to just come all the way to the top, holding down Shift. Now I have this entire column selected. I'm gonna press Control C. I'm gonna hold down Shift and go all the way to the right. And I'll go ahead and paste the information as such. All right, and it looks like we are free of errors. Let me just auto fit these rows over here, or rather let me auto fit these columns. And let's just go back now to our error check and set up a new error check. So first, it looks like I forgot to set up an error check for the cash flow statement. So I'm just gonna do that right now. I'm gonna write cash flows. And I'm going to change the reference over here to pull from the cash flow statement. And now I'm going to set up a check to pull from the summary financials. All right, and let's just take that information and now apply it to our annual and quarterly section. And it looks like everything ties. So let's set up the error check to pull accordingly. As such. Excellent. Okay, now that we have all of our error checks set up, just run a really quick check here. I'm gonna randomly change an amount in a quarter, and it looks like I get an error. If I do the same thing in my years, it looks like I can get an error as well. Okay, perfect. So the last thing that I'm gonna do is just set up this tab over here, and I'm gonna add 2 additional sections, one for source income statement and the other for the source balance sheet. Income statement export from accounting software. And I'll just write the same thing for the balance sheet. And I'm actually gonna hide these. So I'm gonna just put over here parentheses hidden and do the same thing over here, hidden. And now I'm just gonna set up really quick links. So I'll press Control K on summary financials and then a place in this document, cell A1. I'll just link it as such. I'm gonna really quickly repeat these same steps now for each tab that we show here. Perfect. Okay, let's do one other thing. I want to showcase how these 2 sections over here are now in our diagram. So I'm just gonna copy and paste the values over here. And let's just write source and the same thing for the balance sheet. And I'm gonna actually just put it a little above since we don't really have an error check. And that is indeed pulling directly from the drivers. And then lastly, let's just hide some tabs. I don't really need to showcase the source tab here because people won't really need to ingest that data or make any edits. I think this template tab also, I don't really need to show. Let's put the error check tab at the very end. And now we have an instructions tab, our summary financials, our drivers tab where all of our assumptions will take place, a full income statement, a full balance sheet, and a full statement of cash flows. Nicely done. We're now ready to enter in our projections.